President wants the U.S. to get more aggressive. Kesha Branche's mother asked to reopen the case. Exxon posts record profits. And this week's Guyana History Profile. I am Noriko Bulford, and this is Uncut News. Do you see news happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. Our president is calling on the United States to end its decades of neglect for Guyana and the rest of the CARICOM region. During an address to the Washington, D.C.-based Center for Strategic and International Studies, he said the United States has started to do so, as evidenced by the U.S. $2 billion line of credit from the Exxon Bank. But he nevertheless called on the United States to take a more aggressive stance in the region. While American lawmakers, journalists, and other talking heads over there claim that they fear the growing influence of China in the region, he corrected them by acknowledging that China has been here for years, and our nation's loyalty lies with whomever is a strategic partner in national development. That's it. So if they want to challenge China in the region, the only way they can do that is by opening their wallets and supporting our growth. I'm paraphrasing, of course. According to DPI, yesterday, Jagdeo tested negative for the Rona, just one day after he tested positive on Wednesday, July the 27th, in Washington, D.C. He is still in the U.S. as a part of an official government delegation, so I guess he's right back to it. Just as quickly as the Rona came, it's now gone, just like in the media. Aha! Earlier this week, 3 Guyanese boat captains were detained in Suriname for possession of false licenses. 12 men and their fishing vessels were taken into custody. But the 9 fishermen who worked on the vessels were already deported to Guyana. The captains are still in custody. One of the vessel owners told the newsroom that the licenses were actually rented from the Surinamese under a long-standing arrangement where Guyanese fisherfolk are forced to rent the licenses from the Surinamese as they are only available to citizens of that nation. Today, Minister Mustafa reminded of an agreement signed with the government of Suriname 2 years ago to grant 150 licenses to Guyanese fishermen, but none have been issued as of yet. Nevertheless, the minister said the boat captains are expected to be released and return home as early as Tuesday. The mother of murder victim Kesha Branche has now written to the crime chief, Wendell Blanham, to reopen the investigation into her daughter's death. This comes months after the taxi driver accused of killing her daughter was freed. She is asking the GPF to reopen the investigation and to focus on 2 members of the force whom she believes played a hand in the young woman's death. She said that there is evidence linking the 2 police officers whom she named along with their regulation numbers. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's Car of the Week. Currently on sale is this 2016 Suzuki Jimmy Sierra 4-wheel drive. It comes with regular and low-range 4-wheel drive, mag rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo, fog lamps, bar camera, and much, much more. Buy cars for $3.4 million, or pay as low as $700,000 down with around $67,000 monthly for 5 years, and it is yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit the showrooms at Lot 171 Peter Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell them Noriko sent you for this sweet deal. The Guyana Gold and Diamond Miners Association has called on small and medium-scale miners to improve safety practices in the wake of the most recent deaths of 2 miners in Bakdan Region 7. On Thursday, the GGDMA said such accidents are now frequent and reiterated its appeal to the general mining community to adhere to and implement good safety practices. They have also offered free occupational safety training for all interested miners. On Wednesday, shop stewards of the Albion estate picketed outside of the premises. They are once again complaining of Gaisuko's poor management style. According to Gawu, the workers are concerned as they had high expectations for the industry but have been left disappointed by the management. These stewards have complained that management is setting production targets which they believe are unrealistic, especially considering the unusually wet rainy season we are currently experiencing. They also said that the management is failing in their duties and they would like the government to properly evaluate the leadership of the organization, as even they believe that the billions of taxpayer dollars invested into Gaisuko so far needs to be in better hands. Yesterday, the police issued a wanted bulletin for Kwesi U.C. Robinson of Lot 13 Deroy Street work in West Georgetown. According to a police press release, Robinson is wanted for questioning in connection with money laundering and other serious offenses, which they didn't name. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Robinson can contact SOKU 911 or your nearest police station. Guyanese are known for many things, and cheapness is one of them. Thankfully, you could be cheap and still get high-quality DAF, International, Freightliner, Bedford TM, or Scammell truck parts for low prices at Powered Automotive. Visit them at Lot 1161 EE Eccles, or call them on telephone number 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. Now for today's oil update. Exxon is again posting record profits for this quarter. Exxon, like many other oil companies, have ramped up share buybacks in recent months by capitalizing on high margins derived from selling oil and gas, which honestly just sounds like a polite way of saying price gouging, but hey, that's just my opinion. Anyway, Exxon outpaced its rivals with second quarter net income of $17.9 billion, several billion dollars ahead of its previous record reached in 2012, which was aided by asset sales in Japan and, of course, sales of oil from here in Guyana. On Thursday, Prime Minister Mark Phillips met with the Guyana Reparations Committee and a visiting African royal delegation from South Africa and the Kingdom of Lesotho, who are in Guyana for this year's Emancipation Day celebrations. The delegation said that their goals are to foster cultural exchange, education, and development, explore regional economic integration, and strengthen the relationship between Africa and the Caribbean, particularly in their own efforts to establish bilateral relations with nations whose populations have African lineage, hence why they're would be reaching out to us. On a related note, this week's Guyana History segment is on Emancipation Day. August 1st, 1838, Emancipation Day, is observed annually in recognition of the courageous efforts and sacrifices of men and women of African descent in the fight for their freedom and that of their descendants. Decades of rebellions, maroonage, and white abolitionist political agitating pushed the British Parliament to approve the Slavery Abolition Act 1833, which abolished slavery throughout the British Empire and came into force the following year on the 1st of August 1834. However, only captive Africans below the ages of 6 were truly freed. Those older than 6 years were redesignated as apprentices and required to work 40 hours per week without pay as part of compensation payment to their former owners. This apprenticeship period was not well received as many chose to leave the plantation, rebel, or secretly sabotage the operations as a passive protest to the unfair situation. But the resistance was too much for the Crown to bear. Full emancipation was finally achieved at midnight on the 31st of July, 1838. Many of the Afro-Guyanese would go on to spend the next several decades pooling their resources together to buy old plantations and establish their own communities. Communities such as Victoria and Buxton in Demerara, Dartmouth in Essequibo, and decades later they even moved as far as Morowana in the Northwest District. So in Guyana and the rest of the English-speaking Caribbean, August 1st, or at least the Monday closest to that date, is recognized as Emancipation Day. So happy Emancipation Day to all our Afro-Guyanese brothers and sisters. It might not be robbery season, but the streets are still mean. That's why you need to get security for your home and business through Sheriff Security Service. Sheriff Security offers well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, canine services. These people even got drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest, now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today. Now for our Uncut News Views Poll Question of the Day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. Yesterday, I asked about Exxon's most recent oil finds and how do you feel about it? The realist one says, brother, I'm never excited when I hear discovery, as I know Guyanese won't benefit. Harsh but true. In fact, Muhammad seems to agree. He says we want a good oil deal. Presumably, the one we have is terrible, so he wants a better one. And again, I agree, especially looking at Exxon's profit margin recently. So, before we get to tonight's question, you can multiply your cash by selling digital top-up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now for tonight's question. I'd like to know who or even what you would like to see featured in next week's history segment. I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out on Monday for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying, have a great weekend. And as always, don't drink and drive, or you'll end up on Monday's episode the hard way. Ha-ha! Good night, folks.